It's been quite a busy week in the nation's capital. Flag off of the construction of access roads in Mabushi district, flag off ceremony for the construction of the Northern Parkway from Ring Road 2 to 3. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Monday released the final list of candidates who will contest in the 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council election scheduled for February the 21st, 2026. And the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, report on the derailed Kaduna-bound train raises questions that we need answers to from the Nigerian Railway Corporation. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. Let's begin with an update from Nigeria's presidency, the Nigeria statement at UNGA 80, the realization of our dreams to host the Commonwealth Games, and the honoring of the Ogoni Four. It's time for our Abuja Wrap.
Vice President Kashim Shettima arrived in New York, United States of America, to attend the 80th week-long session of the United Nations General Assembly, which commenced from the 22nd of September. Representing President Bola Tinubu at the international gathering, the Vice President arrived late on Sunday in New York, where he was received by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, the Charge d'Affaires at the Permanent Mission of Nigeria to the United Nations, Ambassador Samson Iteboje, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar, and other dignitaries. President Bola Tinubu has called for a total rephase in the global financial architecture of Africa's mineral resources, saying it was time for its nation to assert their influence and power in the African products' global supply chains. Representing President Bola Tinubu at the Second African Mineral Strategy Group High-Level Roundtable on Critical Minerals Development in Africa, held on the margins of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Vice President Kashim Shettima urged African leaders to end the ignoble cycle of importing finished goods through accelerated government-led mineral exploration. The Vice President also held a bilateral meeting with the Chancellor of the Republic of Austria. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima stated his belief that the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa and Nigeria can make or mar that transition. He was speaking at the Global Partnership for Education 2026 to 2030 replenishment campaign meeting, which took place on the sideline of the United Nations General Assembly in New York.
But hope springs eternal from the hearts of men and women, and I'm absolutely certain that in the fullness of time, our much anticipated demographic bulge will be translated into demographic dividends. Ours is a very young population. So in this age of the digital revolution, we are in a unique position to fill in the gap, because the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa, and Nigeria will make or mar that transition.
Also, Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for a permanent seat for Nigeria at the UN Security Council as part of a wider process of institutional reform of the United Nations. Addressing world leaders during the general debate of the 80th United Nations General Assembly, the Vice President also proposed radical reforms to the global financial system, calling for new mechanisms to address the sovereign debt crisis plaguing developing nations.
Our case for permanent seat at the Security Council is a demand for fairness, for representation, and for reform that restores credibility to the very institution upon which the hope of multilateralism rests. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine. The people of Palestine are not collateral damage in a civilization searching for order. They are human beings, equal in worth, entitled to the same freedoms and dignities that the rest of us take for granted.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has met with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the UN headquarters in New York to discuss key issues, including Nigeria's quest for a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council and other matters of mutual interest. The two leaders also held bilateral discussions focusing on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs), climate change, collaboration on strengthening democracy in Nigeria and the African region, and partnership with the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) on regional initiatives for democracy and security. Speaking about the visit, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, disclosed that the UN Secretary-General commended the Vice President for emphasizing Nigeria's need for a permanent position on the UN Security Council.
The VP further emphasized the need for the UN to support Nigeria even more so that we achieve more, and the fact that we are aspiring to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council. In fact, it was the Secretary General that commended the Vice President for stressing that in his speech.
The wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, said that over 20 billion naira has so far been donated by Nigerians for the construction of the National Library project, abandoned for more than 30 years. She stated this during a lunch with State House correspondents at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who marked her 65th birthday on the 21st of September, had encouraged Nigerians to forego sending personal gifts to her or publishing celebratory messages in newspapers, on television, or on the radio. Instead, she called for donations to support the construction of a state-of-the-art National Library. According to her, the project, which has suffered years of abandonment, when completed, would advance the course of knowledge in the country. Responding to criticisms about her intentions, the First Lady said she's driven by a deep sense of duty and patriotism, not political ambition.
The library was started during Shagari. It was maybe muted then, in 1981. And 2006, it was approved by President Obasanjo, and they started building with a budget of 8.2 billion. And in 2010, it was reviewed to about 17 billion. 2023 to 23 billion. But you know what it will be in 2025. So we have 20 billion, 456 million 188,924 and 93 kobo, and it's still growing.
Governor Siminalayi Fubara, Rivers State, has reaffirmed that political stability has fully returned to the state. He stated this at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, where he visited President Bola Tinubu. Mr. Fubara arrived at the villa at about past 6 in the evening and had a brief meeting with the president. The visit comes days following his reinstatement by President Tinubu after he was suspended for 6 months alongside his deputy and members of the State House of Assembly. Speaking to State House correspondents shortly after the meeting, the Rivers State Governor also restated that he is now in good work relationship with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike.
You are aware that the suspension was lifted on the 17th, midnight 17th, and I came in on the 19th. Ideally, it's proper for me to see Mr. President to tell him that I'm back, and I've also resumed my responsibility as the governor of Rivers State.
Lastly, President Bola Tinubu has met with the chairman of Boa Group, Mr. Abdul Samad Rabiu, at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, as part of his stakeholders' engagement towards ensuring price stability in the country. During the meeting, Mr. Rabiu assures of his organization's readiness to support the federal government's economic drive. He commended President Tinubu for the duty waiver granted in 2024 for some food commodities, which he notes are positive measures that will reduce cost of food in the country. Speaking to State House correspondents shortly after the meeting, Mr. Rabiu highlights some of the interventions already made by BOA in supporting the government.
Welcome back. We did promise that when the reports from the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau will be released, we would update you here on Dateline Abuja. We also have the update on the upcoming FCT elections, all of the things that happened in the week in the nation's capital, including the new construction projects by the FCT minister. Please watch this. In late August this year, a Kaduna-bound train from Abuja derailed at Asham village. The train, with 618 persons on board, including NRC crew members, Security personnel and service staff went off track at kilometer 49, Kubwa Asham section in Kagarku local government area of Kaduna State. 21 passengers were injured in the incident. The Director General of the NSIB, Captain Alex Bade Jr., said it will take the NSIB 30 days to release preliminary reports after an incident or accident happens. And having spent 1 week already, the preliminary report for the Abuja-Kaduna train derailment will be ready before the end of September 2025. And he kept his word. Its investigation has revealed that poor maintenance and a faulty track switch were key factors behind the incident. According to the preliminary findings, several sleepers at the station had been damaged in a previous incident and were only patched instead of being properly repaired. Investigators also found that the automatic switch mechanism at the station's crossing point was unserviceable at the time of the derailment, which is the second to occur at the same station within 13 months. As a result, the switch had to be manually operated and secured using a point clip, which was later discovered to be broken. This compromised the integrity of the track alignment, leading to the derailment. The report also noted that personnel of the Nigerian Railway Corporation had received only initial training with no formal refresher courses, raising further concerns about safety standards and preparedness. In another story during the week, according to the National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee for INEC, Mr. Sam Olumekun, the final list of candidates who will contest in the 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, scheduled for February 21, 2026, has been released. According to the statement, with this publication, no further withdrawal or replacement of candidates will be allowed except in the event of the death of a candidate or running mate before Election Day, as approved by Section 34, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act. Candidates are vying for 68 seats in the 2026 Area Council elections. The figure, which includes 6 chairmanship and 62 councillorship positions across the 6 area councils, Abuja Municipal, Buari, Gwagwalada, Kuje, Kwali and Abaji, is the beginning of a process that the FCT residents are looking forward to. Meanwhile, the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, during the week flagged off the construction of access roads in Mabushi district and the construction of arterial road N20, known as Solomon La Highway, linking Obafemi Awolowo Way to the Airport Expressway. He stressed that development will not be limited to the city centre, adding that it will extend to satellite towns, including schools and the health sector. He also promised that the nation's capital will be a world-class city under the administration of President Bola Tinubu.
All of us will attest to the fact that under the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, we can see that the narrative has changed. I want to assure the residents of Abuja, by the grace of God, before the first tenure of Mr. President ends, Abuja will compete with most of the cities of the world. That is a bank draft I have given to you to go home with, and will continue to develop other areas, not only in the city, but also in the satellite towns. We have very massively started again to reconstruct most of the schools. Now we are also entering into the health sector. I have said that no sector will be left untouched. We will make sure every sector is given the attention that is required. I want to appeal to our youth. I want to appeal to the residents of this area. We require your cooperation. With your cooperation, the company may finish this job before the time they were given. I'm always afraid when jobs are awarded, say 2 years and 3 years. I'm always afraid because I don't like variation.
The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has disclosed that he encountered a lot of problems when he assumed office as minister. He is, however, assuring residents that his administration will focus on education, health, and the transportation sector. To discuss these major stories with us is political and public affairs analyst Jide Ojo. Mr. Jide Ojo, welcome again to Dateline Abuja.
My pleasure.
All right, so let's get to it. It was a very busy week. Everything seemed to be happening at the exact same time. I think one of the things that stood out for me during the week was the NSIB report, because that's something that we had been following up on. The chair of the NSIB kept his word. He said he was going to get us this report out in 30 days, and he did. But it's a damning report. It puts the Railway Corporation in very bad light. What do you make of these things that are being said about why that train derailed in Asham?
Very unfortunate, and as should normally rule for that act of negligence. Thankfully, there was no fatality, but some people got injured, and we don't know whether their injury is permanent. And you knew that some repairs were done, badly done. Prior to that, who was supposed to validate the repairs, the engineers or the technicians? Because they said where there was supposed to be a switch, something broke and was not properly mended and all of that. And they put a lot of lives at risk. Remember, train is mass transit. A train, one movement of train can carry more than aircraft will at a point if it's filled to capacity. So you could see a lot of injuries. And what if the passengers have been abducted? We have had that experience prior to now, where families of the abductees have to cover huge sums of money to bail out their loved ones. So I think there should be sanctions. It's not just to lament and agonize about that report. And it's good that we have the NSIB looking at it. I never knew their mandate covers and even trains. I thought it's just the airplanes, but it's good to know. I mean, I'm also
it's all means of transport. He actually clarified that. He said it's all means of transport. When you say heads should roll, from the Nigerian Railway Corporation? Naturally, yes, because they are the operators of that service. All right, so let's move on to something else that happened during the week. We saw the particulars of the people coming out for the area council elections. We've talked about this before. We've tried our best to put the foot of area council chairman to the fire. They have somehow managed to stay away from the limelight. I don't know if that's a product of their job. Maybe they don't want to talk about it, or maybe they've been told not to talk about what they do. But we now have to elect them. And I think it's a very important conversation. When it comes to the FCT minister, he wasn't elected by the people. No. He's an appointee of the president. So demanding accountability from him, it's because, the president put you here. Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to do? But when it comes to area council chairman, we literally voted you into office. And we're about to see another round of elections next year. What do you make of this area council chairman and how they've been running the FCT and not being able to give the accountability that the people need from them?
Incidentally, Kayla, this forthcoming election, their tenure will be for 4 years. Yes. For the first time. For the first time, it's always 3 years. So they're now going to enjoy same tenure as that of president and governor. So we need to shine our eyes in making our choice for the next set of area councillors and chairmen. They have the privilege, I will call it privilege, of being of having their council situated in the Federal Capital Territory, which means that they enjoy. It's like when you have senior brothers and you are the last born, you know, pass me down.
Because federal might is here.
Federal is even the one spending. Federal is the one spending the bulk of resources, improving infrastructures all over the place. And then the FCT, luckily we have Yeson Wike doing human's job in terms of infrastructural development. I mean, not like his politics, but I like his delivery, service delivery in terms of infrastructure. And then, so this is the toilet. But you know, the last time I was here, we were discussing this whole area council stuff. Now, we had teachers going on strike for 3 months. Primary school teachers. Over what? Non-payment of 70,000 minimum wage. It's a shame. It's a shame. You are making huge sums of money, and I don't think the FCT minister, although we have this issue of JAC, Joint State Local Government Account, I don't know whether they form a distributable pool or whatever. But I think FCT minister shouldn't have even allowed that to linger for that length of time before. That's a whole term lost for FCT school children, pupils. But eventually the reason prevailed. They've called back, they've gone back to work. But we haven't seen, even though I watched the FCT minister on news yesterday, he was saying that they are improving the quality of the classrooms, they are renovating some classrooms, they are also paying attention to hospitals. Well, we need to see work fasting on this. I recall that doctors in FCT also went on warning strike, 7 days warning strike, and thereafter on indefinite strike before the minister resumed from vacation, and few days after the call off. But I think these are things we should not be seeing. All the major roles are taken care of by the federal government. Given the fact that this is where you have all the embassies, the diplomatic community and all of that, and being the federal capital, what Lagos was enjoying is now what FCT is enjoying. So I think if only our area council administrators, chairmen and councillors could do, there are a lot of, access roads, trunk C roads that are impassable, especially during this rainy season.
Let's even say that they don't have the finances to
They do, they should. Because they are not having more.
We're talking about an FCT that has a refuse problem. Have you seen that heap?
Solid.
That heap of refuse in Utako. There's an area council chairman.
It's not only in Utako. It's all over.
He's everywhere. Yes,
it's everywhere.
We're seeing a pile up of trash.
Solid waste disposal challenge. But you see, that's why people of FCT needs to shine their eyes in electing successor to this. There is, aside from the refuse problem, there's also the management of motor parks, the stouts, and look at the unfortunate incident at Mabushi, where a couple and their son or child died, all because some touts from NURTW were trying to molest the driver. All of this should not be happening in a civilized environment like the FCT. The Constitution has already highlighted areas, functions of area councils, and they are there in the Constitution. For, I think, the 4th or 5th schedule, the management of parks, liquor license, bicycle TV licensing, management of cemeteries, and all of that. So, if there is already a constitutional rule, there should not be an overlap, and area councils should be up and doing. They should just not hide under the umbrella of paucity of funds, because that's the excuse under Buhari administration. Now, we saw what FAC just shared recently, was it last week, which is the highest thus far. The three hubs, they all get their own share. And unlike Lagos, that we understand that there are LCDAs. In FCT, we don't have LCDAs. There are just 6 of them. And their money is supposed to be paid directly to them, arising from Supreme Court decision of July 11, 2024, that the funds meant for local government should go directly to them. So if the FCT minister has not been interfering in their funds, they should be able to do a lot more than they are offering.
I think this is going to be different. I don't know why I feel that way. I just believe that this is going to be a different election.
I hope so.
Because they're not going to get away with just hiding and no one knows who you are or what you do. They don't do interviews.
No, I think the minister should expose them.
Yes, I think so too.
I think he should expose them. All this coddling and shielding them from public.
I want to thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ojo, for making out the time to be with us.
Always a pleasure.
And good luck with all the work you have.
I think you are not trying to make me Mr. FCT. Because almost all the time you bring me here is to come and discuss FCT. I don't think that is fair. But it's all right. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handle showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.